Hello everyone. आप हैं रिया के साथ on Mana TV International. You can watch us live worldwide on YUPP network and can subscribe to our Facebook page and YouTube channel as well. Welcome to yet another episode of Healthy Habits. When it comes to healthy eating, I assume we would all love to get some budget-friendly tips and bargains to get balanced diet. Yes, indeed, a balanced plant-based diet is possible in small budget. A little bit of planning goes a long way. You can eat delicious, healthy, and affordable meals with inexpensive ingredients and less preparation time. We just need to follow some tips and tricks, and that can do wonders. So चलिए दोस्तों, बात करते हैं आज के टॉपिक पर, बजट ईटिंग विद वेजिटेबल्स. हमारे साथ हैं डॉक्टर प्रतिभा फाटके गुप्ता. Pratibha ji is a PhD in biochemistry. She's working as a research associate professor in Dayton, Ohio. She's a board-certified drugless practitioner and a holistic expert. Welcome, Pratibha. It's so nice to have you here again.
Thank you, Ria. Thank you for inviting me for a wonderful episode of Healthy Habits with the Vegetable and Eating on Budget. And thank you, Mana TV, for inviting me over here.
So, Pratibha, high level, हम सबको पता है vegetables are good for us. Vegetables are good for health, but we don't know the details and we don't know why vegetables.
It's a very good question, Ria. Vegetables are, as I think we had discussed in the last episode, that, we have a macronutrients and micronutrients. And macronutrients are our protein, fat, carbohydrates, and micronutrients are basically our supplements. Micronutrients means they have phytonutrients and other minerals and nutrients that are necessary to break down our macronutrients, which is protein, fat, and carbohydrates. Mm-hmm. So if we don't have micronutrients, which comes from vegetables, then the breakdown metabolically of macronutrients is going to be difficult. Such as, for example, if you're eating rice, lentils, and other things, what happens to break this down, you definitely need micronutrients. And these micronutrients comes from vegetables.
Okay.
So that is how it is very essential that we use the grains in addition to micronutrients coming from vegetables.
Okay. So we have subgroups of vegetables also, right? So what are those subgroups?
See, the vegetables are in a different groups. That is a very good question also. So if you can take the vegetables to distribute or organize in a subgroups, and I would give you some 5 generic vegetable groups. Okay. It can come in a dark green and starchy vegetables, red and orange color, like beans and peas, and other ones. So I'm going to give you just a generic, some kind of like a review of the vegetable that people already know about it. Such as, for example, if you choose a category of dark green, that comes like a broccoli, and bok choy, and kale, spinach, collard greens, and leafy vegetables, and leafy lettuce, right? There are different types of lettuce available as well. And if you take starchy vegetables, that comes out, for example, your green peas, your potatoes, and the corn, right? Mm-hmm. And if you choose something like red and orange color, so the red and orange color will include like your carrots, your pumpkins, your sweet potatoes, and winter squash and tomatoes and red peppers, orange peppers, right?
Okay.
If you choose something like a beans and peas, then definitely you can have a black peas, your black-eyed beans, chickpeas, your kidney beans, your lentils, and your pinto beans, soya beans, and also split peas. And if you consider, for example, like other ones, like for example, like asparagus, like avocado, and beets, and Brussels sprouts, cauliflower, and eggplants, and the green beans, right? And these are some of those vegetables, including zucchinis and onions, garlic, ginger. Okay. All these are included in that. So if you're considering yourself to choose these vegetables, then you can make sure you have colorful, the vegetables should be colorful. So if you make a platter of colorful vegetables, you definitely will go and pick up and choose based on your choices as well.
Subgroups. Okay. So every subgroup will have different nutrient values also then, right? I mean, like green pepper, red pepper, yellow pepper, like, right now peppers are pepper, but like, look, the way you explain, like, every color has a different value.
Absolutely, absolutely. For example, if you're choosing like a red beet, correct? Red beet is a very dark red color, correct?
Right.
It has a lot of B12 in there, B complex in there, right? So colorful vegetables, they do have nutrients. So no, there's no one vegetable, Ria, that can have all the nutrients, right? So we have to choose colorful things, right? So we have to, first of all, if you're choosing vegetables, you have to know about what vegetables are you using, and this vegetable is good for what nutrients.
Yes.
Then, for example, ideally, if you see garlic, onion, ginger, right, they're also good for many, many nutrients. And you'll be surprised to know that, Ria, that ginger has so many ingredients into it that is required for many of the biochemical reactions, right? So if you're using ginger in your diet, definitely you are actually enhancing your metabolic reactions. Now, for example, avocado, right? Avocado is a great, vegetable antioxidants, right? For example, beans, they're good for fibers as well. So there are multi-type of beans. So what my purpose of telling you is that there are so many variety of things you can choose and pick based on your taste, based on your flavors, and also you have multi, things in your platter. So you don't get bored of the same thing over and over again, right? So ideally, you can choose whatever you want, but again, plan it out so that you feel good about it and you're making it available. And so let's say, for example, a lot of people think that vegetables means you have to eat raw vegetables or you have to like eat as a salad. So there are a lot of ways that you can use vegetables. So
okay. So like, now we know, like, vegetables are definitely beneficial, like, so how to increase the intake of vegetables, and obviously like in budget friendly way, how can we increase the intake?
Absolutely. See, the thing is that sometimes, as I mentioned, that first of all, we have to know about the vegetable as well. So if you go to produce sections, you will definitely know there are some of the vegetables are inexpensive, such as, for example, green vegetables. If you go for a kale or spinach or lettuce or bok choy, these are vegetables. They're not very expensive. Okay. And these vegetables are good for salad. Okay. And these can be good for soup as well. So you can buy in bulk. And if you go to farmers market, local farmers market, there also you'll find some good vegetables which are, less expensive. So these vegetables can be utilized for your soups and salads as well. And some of the vegetables incorporate into your daily habits, such as, for example, let's say, for example, if you're eating a pizza, right? You're making homemade pizzas. You can make colorful pizza, and I can give you a very good tip. You can go and buy some frozen uncooked pizza, right? So you can have those pizzas. You can bring those dough or maybe uncooked pizza, and you can use a lot of vegetables. For example, in place of cheese, you can have a grated carrots, correct? You can cut the onions, you can cut green pepper, bell peppers. There are different type of bell peppers as well, green, red, orange, and different types of, in fact, purple, green pepper also comes out there too. There's recently introduced there, right? So you can have fine chopped vegetables there. So you can make your colorful pizza. And also, for example, many of us like to use carbohydrates. So, when you make a tortillas or tacos, right? So if you make a tacos and tortillas, you can also use a cream cheese on the top just to stick your vegetables and grate a lot of vegetables and put like a spread out vegetables on it. And if you're using broccoli, you can shred the broccoli in a very fine chopped, and you can sprinkle on your tortillas. And believe me, you can love the colorful things. For example, I would suggest, Ria, if audience of Mana TV are listening to us, make sure this incorporation of vegetable will really, really be helpful for children. And anybody can make it. You can take tortillas, or maybe if you are from Indian family, you're using parathas or chapatis, you can use that chapatis or parathas, and you can spread some cream cheese on the top. So you can have some, some good stuff in there too. And also you can spread out your shredded carrots, you can spread out your broccoli, and also grated, red peppers or
Mhm.
grated, beetroots, any vegetable you want, fine, chop it and put in the cheese on the top, with a sauce, pizza sauce and everything. And you can put it in your oven if you want to, or maybe just a very short time. And
Okay.
you can have a very good, delicious meal. And it takes about no more than 10 minutes. So it's like an easy snack for healthy snacks. And if you're asking me, Ria, to give you another options to incorporate, vegetables in your, more incorporation of vegetables, I would suggest you, for example, if the audience are listening to me, they may say, well, I like the vegetables, but I don't like to see the vegetables. So what you can do, you can grate the vegetables, or you can blend the vegetables. You can make a basically puree of the vegetables, right? And you can freeze it in an ice tray, right? So you can make multi vegetables. You can, you can basically in a blender, you can take these vegetables in a season time. When you have a season time, you can buy those in bulk and, make basically puree those vegetables and freeze it in an ice cube tray.
Mhm.
And then you can take these ice cube trays and put in a Ziploc bags. And you mark it labels. This is broccoli, this is all these different vegetables. And you can take out one, piece of that ice cube and use it in your soup. Or if you're eating sambar or dal or anything like that, you can just blend it and put it in there. Nobody will know that. But
Mhm.
ideally, you have that vegetable into your food.
Right.
And the other selection, Ria, I can tell you that a lot of people who makes the chapatis or dough of chapati or parathas, you can make those pureed vegetables into these dough, right? So you will not know. So someday you can make spinach paratha, someday you can make broccoli paratha, someday you can make the red beet paratha, which is colorful
Mhm.
parathas, right?
Right.
And the other option I can suggest you is that, for example, if you're very very fond of pastas, right? So when you're boiling the pastas, you can put that ice cube of red beet or carrots or any of the vegetables, that it takes that color, right? That takes this
Uh-huh.
color, so you can have a colorful pasta right there instant. So
Yeah.
now you're not being overloaded because you already have planned it out. You can. And when Ria, one good question I have for you. Now I'm sure you probably have young children, correct? So
Mhm.
do you have any difficult times? Sometimes people say, well, mom, I don't like to eat the vegetables. I don't really like that. So what do you say that to them? What do you say that to them when they say, majority of the children say, mom, I don't like to eat vegetables, right? I don't like it. In fact, that's a really universal question. What would you answer, Ria? If your children are saying that, what will be your answer?
I mean, technically, I tell them that it is important. You have to eat that. But again, like, we have to incorporate ways to put it in there. Most of the time, like being an Indian family, I make the stuffed parathas, so that is the easiest. And my kids technically like those. So that becomes easier for me.
Absolutely. But you know what? I think you probably may have been practicing with them and things like that. If I were you, instead of me justifying that, but I would say that, okay, that's fine. Let's go make something like that. So here's what we can do. If your listening audience are listening to this technique, this really will work very well, because I did this experiment with my children. My older son, when he was 6 years old, what I did
Hmm.
was I gave him a lot of supplies of these salads, which means
Okay.
cherry tomatoes, shredded carrots, some lettuce, some spinach, some cut up vegetables, everything I did. Okay. And I gave him a bowl and I asked him, hello, Aditya, can you make something design out of that? Make sure that you design according to your taste. So what he
Okay.
did was he put the lettuce first, then green peppers, and then, spinach. And also then he had cherry tomatoes around the periphery of the bowl, and then he shredded carrots. So he made like a colorful, bowl of the salad. So I said, so automatically children say, wow, it looks so great. Wow, can I try? Can I try? And I said, yes, of course. Yes, you can too. And you give them a little bit tidbit of trying. And guess what? People get tasted. Then you can again let them know, hey, you know what? We did this last week. Remember? Shall we make that? And you know what? That's how called infusing in children's mind. Then you can explain to them, tomatoes are great. It has a lycopene and it is anti-cancer, and also it has has a lot of benefits. For example, if you eat a lot of spinach, it has a lot of iron. Iron is good for your blood, right? And we have a blood in our body, and blood is necessary, right? And blood is good for us. And you know what? If you have a good blood, you have oxygen. And you have oxygen, oxygen goes to your brain. And you know what? You have a good brain, intelligent brain. Don't you think it's like that? So these kind of little things in child's mind can make it go through a long way, because once they have learned in the childhood, they will definitely have some incorporation. Back to you, Andrea.
That's definitely true. So, I mean, I can understand, like, feeding this green vegetables to kids is definitely hard. I mean, they don't want to eat green vegetables. So we definitely need some more tips, some more tricks, to incorporate all these healthy vegetables in there. But again, sometimes the question comes into our mind that if we take like eat vegetables like salads in the afternoon and then just sabzi in the evening, will that be a good idea, right? I mean, we do not even know how much vegetables we need in a day. I mean, because we may need beans also, we may need fruits also. So is there we can make a portion that how much vegetables we need in a day?
Absolutely, Ria. I'm sure, and again, we don't have to be too much strict about it, because I know a lot of people who are listening to us is that, not everybody is going to be that much disciplined that if it's required that quantity, they will be actually measuring those cups and things like that. It's all automatically, when you make a routine, it becomes very routine habits. And ideally, for example, if you have children who are like, age group, maybe 2 or 3 year old, I mean, 1 cup mixed vegetables are good for daily recommendations. And if you were having girls who are like, between the age of like, 4 to 8, maybe 1.5 cups is good enough. And girls and boys are a little different because of their, body structures. And if you have a children or girls who are 9 to 13 years of age, maybe 2 cups of vegetables are good enough. And boys, because of their structure, again, 9 to 13, maybe 2.5 cups of vegetables are good enough, And if you're women between 19 to 50, I would definitely have like 2.5 cups to maybe 3 cups,
Okay.
And or if you are women between 51 plus years old, 2 cups is good enough. And men, surely maybe 2.5 cups per day would be good enough. And again, this is a question of that. How do you have best choices of these food selections, right? So, for example, not necessarily everything needs to be cooked. Okay, some vegetables are really good for snacks, like broccoli or carrots or cauliflower. Those are the good ones. And some of those things are called like sometimes they are steamed, there are some roasted, or sometimes they're stir fry, or maybe something grilled, or sometimes it's raw. And these vegetables are tasting differently, right? I can give you a very good tip. Last week I had made something like I chopped very, bigger sizes, big cubes of these vegetables, and I stir fried with little garlic, onion, and ginger. So what happens when children are around, try to cook during the time when they are hungry. Okay. And right before they start their homework or when they come from school, that's the time when you start cooking. The smell can make children a little bit hungrier as well, right? So what's cooking, mom? What are you cooking, mom? So what happens then, they have more enthusiasm to see what exactly is being cooked. They say, well, I'm cooking such and such, things like that, right? So I did that experiment. Of course, my children are not young anymore. I'm just giving example of that. They're college students, but still they were there one day. And I had the paneer. So I made the stir fry paneer tikka with the stir fry vegetables, with the green pepper, orange, and the carrots and stuff like that. So it tastes out so good, and I gave them a nice squares, and then make like a kebab type thing. So it looks nicer and very festive. So what happens, you automatically are inclined towards like eating vegetables. So make it more like a presentable. It's not about raw vegetables you can put in a Ziploc bag. Okay, here's your vegetable, eat that, right? So if you make it in a presentable way, I guarantee you people will love to try that. Okay, back to you.
So perfect. Like, so now, like, we know how we have to use the vegetables, but I would want to know, like, do you have any more tips and tricks as per the weekly groceries? Like, in vegetables, we know we have to use or eat this much vegetables, but do we want to give us some tips and tricks, like going to a grocery store, getting the vegetables, how much we should get, what we should get on the weekly basis?
Oh, absolutely, Rhea. So what can you do is that, for example, first of all, buy the vegetables in a season, right? When there's a
Mm-hmm.
good season, go and buy. And you know what? And if you, and I would definitely encourage you to have some freezer in a short, small tabletop freezer in your room or maybe in your kitchen, and buy some vegetables which are on seasons, right? When they're
Mm-hmm.
seasoned, then you can make maybe make it a puree, as I mentioned, to make
Right.
ice cube tray, or you can cut those vegetables and semi cook, so you can put in a ziploc bags to freeze it. Also, you can cut up some vegetables, really short small vegetables, you can freeze that as well. Or there are some frozen vegetables, many of the grocery stores, sometimes they sell 10 for 10, something like that. You can buy in a grocery when there's a sale going on. You can come and buy those things and freeze it also. And also, when you buy those vegetables, you can portion it also. So, because you don't want to buy the whole bag and thaw the whole bag, you may not
Mm-hmm.
be able to utilize that. So you can portion that, buy some small little Ziploc bags and freeze it, and maybe put the dates on the top of it. And you
Right.
can take one by one, so you have a supply for the at least a couple of months, right? And if, of course, try, for example, when you go for a grocery shopping, so try to make sure that you are buying something relatable things, such as green beans, and snap peas. And these are sometimes they are very put into some places where they're on the sales, right? Like, for example, bok choy or
Mm-hmm.
leeks. Leeks is really good taste, just like a onion, right? So, and also sometimes when you buy the beets, right, red beets,
Mm-hmm.
there's some leafy red beets as well too. So you can have the leafy vegetables from there too. So sometimes kohlrabi, sometimes these vegetables are not being heard of it, but you can
Mm-hmm.
choose those things. Now, for example, let's say, for example, when you're eating okras are really great flavored. It has a lot of fibers and a lot of mucilaginous stuff, which is good for your digestion as well. So you can have the stir fry vegetable, stir fry of okra. And in fact, these vegetables, if you see, are really good in the sense because, and recently what I have done is that I think I forgot to mention about one more additional thing to do with vegetables, is that you can make vegetable as a puree, and you can use yogurt or sour cream, mix it together, and have some garlic, onion, ginger into it, and you can make a dip out of that. And you
Okay.
can have a salsa with that particular dip, and you have a veggie dip, right? So, in fact, this is a very simple thing to do. And the my best suggestion is that when you buy these things, make sure you have a family event, right? So everybody's involved. So what happens? Everybody knows what they're eating.
Right.
And when you go to grocery shopping, I would definitely ask every one of us here or who is listening to us is that go by the colors, right? Green, red, orange, yellow, pepper, everything, whatever the vegetables you think. So what will happen? You automatically think in your mind that phytonutrients, micronutrients, macronutrients, what are these? And you will definitely automatically choose based
Yeah.
on your selections.
Based on that.
And if you see that in current times, people used to have, vegetables was their last choice. But I suggest vegetables should be your first choice in a food. And for example, Ria, I would definitely tell you that, have you ever eaten corn? I have a good question for you. Have you ever eaten corn? Do you
Yeah. I mean,
do you do you know what exactly the way you have eaten the corn? What are the best suggestions that you can give it to us?
corn soup is a big hit at my home, and like normally,
Okay.
like the way, like we just cook the corn on the gas directly, and
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Mhm.
and eat it.
Okay, I'm going to give you a couple of other tips just with the corn. Okay,
Okay.
so corn on the cob, people usually use that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes people boil it, right? So I would give you a good tip. You grate the corn. Okay,
Okay.
grate the corn, and also you can stir fry with onion, garlic, ginger, and put a little tomato and with the cilantro, and mix that corn, and it can be a good snack, evening snack. Okay, and you can put any of the plates. It looks very basically it looks very very delicious. If you are eating corn, you can actually blend the corn and put in your wheat flour, and you can make a good parathas out of that. If you are using corn as a corn soups are great. and they are also, and you can make that corn dip as well, right? So you can make different combinations of that. The last thing is called corn rice. It tastes awesome. When you're making the rice, you can stir fry a little bit of corn, and in that you can mix it, and you can put cilantro. It will taste like delicious. So you just have three things together. You have micronutrients and macronutrients together, because you have a rice, you have a lentil, and also a corn. So you got all the mixed one meal. It's like a one pot meal. And the last thing I'm going to tell you about that, the each vegetables, if you choose with the same style, people will get bored. So try to make your combinations on a different varieties way. So people won't get bored with the same style, because sometimes people, it's a mindset, Ria. It's a mindset. If I have to give you corn and I have given you in a one style, you definitely would not be able to try if that particular dish was not good, right? So try your combination. Another thing I have seen that, for example, like carrot. Now, some of the things are used or can be used as a vegetable juice, right? You can blend it in a form of a blend in a blender and make it a juice, right? And the juice, you can filter the juice and put in your fridge. And you can make with any combination of juice, with mixed with orange or mixed with any of the things that really taste really good. So there are varieties of the way. And again, as on a budget, I guarantee you, if you have to put budget like $50 per week, maybe for a family of 4, I can guarantee you, you can pick up a lot of vegetables and a lot of beans and a lot of other ingredients that you can survive with the low budget meals. Again, it's a mindset. And also when you do the combinations, make sure you have all the colorful vegetables right in front of you. And again, when you're serving the food on your table with people, and I would definitely, Ria, encourage you all to buy some of the plates which are colorful in color, which means that it has partition plates. There are a lot of plates available as a partitioned, where you can have different colors. So you can ask your children or anybody to fill up that particular section with the vegetables, with the macronutrients and the micronutrients, or even a dessert. You can also have a dessert as well. Now, I forgot to mention one more important thing is that sometimes, when you're eating a vegetable, you get tired of that. So I recently have introduced one more thing is that, like apples. Sometimes people don't eat apples on a regular basis. You get bored of that. So what I did was I made the sliced apples and use the caramel apples. So you can cook with maybe with the brown sugar or the regular sugar, and it tastes like a dessert for you. So it is next combination of if you're getting bored with the fruits and vegetables.
So, amazing information, Pratibha. A lot of information, I would say. So definitely it's like kind of a buffet, and we have to pick and choose. And but it's amazing information. Hopefully viewers are able to grasp all. You have all of you have books or the writing pads to note all these things. But we will come back again next week with new information on healthy habits. Thank you. Thanks, Pratibha.
Thank you. And thank you, Mana TV International, for inviting me as a guest for giving you good information. And we'll see you in other episodes. तब तक के लिए विदा लेते हैं, मिलते हैं अगली बार. Thank you.